ZombieTech. Welcome to ZombieTech, a forum for engineers, scientists, and inventors to ponder on the technologies needed to survive the inevitable zombie apocalypse.
She's Addie.
He's Whisker.
And who do we... Wait.
I feel like we've done this before.
Deja vu!
You guys haven't left yet?
A week goes by so quickly.
I'm still wearing the same clothes.
Oh my, Joe.
That explains the smell. Thought it was a zombie. Nope. All right, so...
That's one way. If you smell like a zombie, they can't tell.
Yeah.
Now, I could have sworn we were up to something productive yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yesterday, last week, something like that.
Quote, last week.
It's all blurring into one.
Yes. We are talking to Joe Grand and Zaz Brooks of, different notorieties, but in this case of ZombieTech, it's going to be on Prototype This. And we have been going through the episodes, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything that comes with engineers getting involved in TV.
Mm-hmm.
Is that about right?
Yeah, don't do it. I'm just kidding.
Run away.
I don't know how kidding you are, though.
I would say do it from the beginning. Like, have some creative control over how it's pitched.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
We here at Toymakers, we encourage everybody to start their own television network.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
that sounds good.
You know, TV is a very powerful medium, and it should be used, and it should be used more effectively.
And properly.
Yep.
And now let's spend 45 minutes complaining about all of the problems with how they really do it.
So we did I think 6 projects last week. Well, quote last week, and we have I think 7, 8. 8. Okay. So why don't we just start
7.
with 7 because
We
it's
did
13
13
total.
We can do maths.
Come on, engineers. Okay, so let's start with the Get Up and Go, which was actually this was I think your cool episode, Zaz.
Yeah. This was the one where I got to be the guinea pig. So,
Yeah.
you know, being a non-welder, I finally got a lot of screen time.
And the
Now,
pajamas were awesome.
we finished yesterday's show with Joe nudity. I think there was some Zaz nudity in this one.
Oh yes.
There was
That's
definitely some Zaz underwearness, and unlike Joe, who chose to wear the leopard print speedos, I was actually I was forced to wear the boxer shorts with my logo on them. That's not the underwear I wear every day.
So this is just sort of like something you guys just now have in common for the rest of your life. I've been on television in my underpants.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a deep,
Yeah.
deep bond right there. It's an elite club.
As if getting through Prototype This together wasn't a bond enough.
Now you can
I guess this allows us to bond with a lot more people out there on the internet.
Right.
It's a different kind of bonding.
Was that your good? Wait, did you say a good yet?
No, I
No.
didn't. But sure, that's my good. Is that I got a chance to do what I like to do, which is to play things for a little bit non-seriously for a bit of laughs, and got to be the long-suffering test guinea pig, which I really enjoyed.
Mm.
I don't remember much about making this episode for some reason. I'm not sure why. It was November 2008.
That's when
that's when it aired. I don't remember. Yeah, it was not one of my favorites, other than Zaz being the guinea pig, which was really funny. I don't really have much good about this one.
Wasn't there some gross thing where you guys like had pureed stuff like being sprayed
Breakfast.
at your face?
Yeah, this was another one where I thought that they really kind of the production staff, partly because it made them so sick to watch that they kind of lost a bunch of the footage from that segment. Because it wasn't until someone brought it to my attention that it looked like I was being force-fed vomit from a tube that I realized that I was being force-fed vomit from a tube, and that kind of made me feel sick too. But what was supposed to happen, and I don't think it got edited that way, was Mike feeds me pureed cereal out of the tube, And then I said, look, Mike, I'm not really a cereal for breakfast kind of guy. I'm more of a bacon and eggs guy.
Oh,
And you curate up the bacon and eggs and the coffee.
and the sausage.
Yeah. That's when it really crossed the vomit barrier.
Oh, awkward.
Actually, I do remember a good about this episode. And this one was when we were doing like the kind of final assembly of this thing. It was one of the nights where all of us pulled nearly all-nighter, and we actually all worked together really well as a team, which was cool. Because usually a lot of the episodes, Zaz and I would be up in the lair working on the software and the electronics, and Terry would be down in the shop working on the mechanical stuff, and Mike would be doing some of the other kind of glue between everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we never really joined forces and got together until the end of the show when we had to integrate everything. But this one was more of a team effort to get it all going. And I just remember at like 2 a.m. sitting inside of the pod with Terry wiring up a bunch of the relays. And that was actually the first time that I'd actually done any work with Terry. So that was kind of fun sitting in there, and it was just a good feeling to get it all done. And just the fact that, it ended up pretty much working. Like
many of the builds, this one was almost a total disaster because we've got near the end of the 2 weeks and nothing was working at all, at least in terms of the pod, the integrated pod. And pulling that all-nighter, was the first time we really felt like a team, I think. And there was a real spirit of camaraderie that came out of that episode.
Cool.
Yeah.
And which one was it in the lineup? Like one of your first or?
Maybe 4th or 5th, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Bad or ugly?
It was definitely bad that, that was the other side of the coin of feeling like a team. Is for the previous week and a half, we hadn't felt like a team at all. And almost all of the mechanical stuff had just been offloaded onto Terry because, Terry's the mechanical guy. And he was just snowed under and feeling really panicky about getting it all done because there was just a ton of work to do. And so, it definitely got to a very stressful point about halfway through where we just didn't know if it was going to get done, and we didn't feel invested in it, and Terry felt like it was all on his shoulders.
Sure.
That was a stressful time, but they ended up working out okay.
I think another bad is that at the beginning it was grossly over engineered, or at least
the idea
proposed to be, adding lots of features and bells and whistles of things.
Wait, on prototype something was over engineered.
Yeah. But unfortunately it was all electronic related, so I remember doing a lot of building of little circuits of like detecting when Zaz would put the toothbrush back in the thing, and like using little optical sensors and building little manual encoders for the opening of the door, and like all of these extra little things that just never made it into the show and were never used. Which, of course, yes, that's kind of part of the process. Is maybe you cut some things out as you go, but we just shouldn't have tried to be so ambitious from the start. So it was a lot of wasted work and a lot of wasted energy.
Sure. But you guys wouldn't be engineers if you hadn't thought at least about some of those things.
Right.
So, okay. Oh, and I have a question. Was the thing advertised to like the community when you guys went and just
really none of our episodes were advertised to the technical community, like beforehand. We weren't allowed to talk about much as the show was going on. I think Twitter was in its infancy, and like we weren't even really allowed to promote stuff. But for Get Up and Go, the producers did try to, get friends and family and other people to Union Square for this finale.
Oh, okay.
Joe may not remember, but actually they printed up, like our production crew on the ground printed up flyers, full color, nice little glossy things that they were going to hand out everywhere. And then the network got wind of it and just spat the dummy basically and said, no, you can't announce it. You're going to give away the show. And they had to just, collect back up all these glossy pamphlets and throw them away.
Oh, no.
So, on the day, we just show up with a big sign and set up in Union Square, but no one is there expecting us. Everyone's just like, who the hell are these guys?
Yeah, the show could have definitely benefited from a lot more exposure and sort of, just behind the scenes stuff and information about what was going on, because we had to keep everything secret for the 18 months that we were filming the show. Wow. And then by the time the show aired, like people, it was just, people didn't really necessarily care at that point. It would have been more fun if people could even like stop by and see what we're doing or just know what was going on.
Like some sort of anticipation.
Yeah, we were just kind of gagged.
Yeah.
We take the
They were
exact
crazy.
opposite approach with our show. We just tweet about it and, update every week what we're working on, behind the scenes stuff. That's what it's all about. People like that stuff.
Especially for a technical show, and sharing, information sharing is really important. And I think we lost a lot of people because we just didn't explain stuff, or, we didn't show what we were doing and things like that. But I don't know, zombie apocalypse for the Get Up and Go.
Yeah, what's the zombie connection here?
Maybe that
I think it would be perfect for
know.
like your zombie bunker kind of guy who's like a crazy inventor living in his own underground nuclear bomb shelter, and it just seems like the sort of thing that kind of guy would have.
Yeah,
well,
it's a zombie-proof place to sleep.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're in a protected and HVAC, environmentally controlled pod, and of course the acrylic is zombie-proof. So by the time the door opens,
oh god,
you're already set and you're ready to battle zombies.
Maybe,
unless you wake up and you
there
can
should be,
see
like,
through
a
the
gun.
glass and you're completely surrounded.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you have to have, like, next to your toothbrush, you should have like a couple machetes.
Or giant fighting robots.
Oh yeah, that too.
Mm.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
you could control the giant fighting robots
Yeah.
from inside.
Sure, you could.
That's kind of over-engineered, but I like it.
You could also put the Get Up and Go in the back of the traffic buster, and so you can sleep in the back of the truck
Oh.
when you're not mowing down zombies.
Hey,
As you're
hey.
elevated above ground.
Yeah, good idea. You get a nice view of the city too. Yeah. All right, automated pizza delivery.
Yum.
That was a lot of
One-
pizza.
That was a really fun episode. That was where we really got a chance to just again play things for laughs. This was, I think, the last one we filmed, right?
No,
Uh,
we did the gecko.
Oh, that's right.
and- yeah.
But it aired much earlier in the lineup than we filmed it.
Yeah.
It was one of the last ones we filmed.
Mm.
And so, they let us get away with being a little humorous again on this one, with the whole kind of weird concept of delivering pizza autonomously. And the good for me really was another humorous thing, was getting to throw pizza out of the Goodyear blimp.
Yeah. That
that's
was
one of the things that is great about TV. There's really no other way that they would let you throw pizzas out of the Goodyear blimp.
Yeah. Well, your brother came on the show too.
Yeah, that was great too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This episode could have been a lot worse. The network was trying to direct it in a way that was just ridiculous. So we were able to actually kind of flip it around and make it into something fun and say, okay, look, we'll have some flying. We'll try to do some flying pizza delivery, autonomous. Are we having an earthquake?
Just me moving around. What?
No, I don't think that was.
Oh my gosh.
We may have just had an earthquake. I'm not sure. So, trying some flying vehicles first, and then ending up with the Marathon Robotics platform with this pizza pie pack on it, and we got to do the autonomous car with Anthony Lewandowski. So there's a lot of really fun stuff with this episode, and we got to eat a ton of pizza, which was one of my favorites. We ate so much pizza on that show.
Man, we were stuffed with pizza all the time.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I have to just say at this point, as a behind the scenes thing, this whole episode came because the exec at Discovery saw one of those little remote control blimps,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Oh, the guys can use one of those to deliver pizzas anywhere in the city." And we're like, "No, it can't lift a pizza." But he's like, "No, they can definitely work out a way to do it." And so, the whole concept was ridiculous from the beginning. And we had to find some way to turn this thing that definitely wouldn't work into an episode that would work.
And that's why the first part of the episode is, well, we need a bigger blimp. It's like trying the blimp until we just exhaust it to death and realize it's not going to work, because that's what we needed to do to convince the network that we were going to go down a different path.
Right. And you guys did that driverless car. Like, did it get scratched up on the side? Was that?
Yeah, it did. That car was really, really cool. And Anthony Lewandowski was one of the guys that had started up Google Maps, right? Or Google Street View.
Oh, okay.
Or worked on Google Street View.
He works for Google now. I'm not sure when he came on board with that, but he was sort of one of the first guys they hired to do their autonomous cars for Street View and for their other applications that we don't even know what they are yet.
Yeah, that was neat. And being able to close the Bay Bridge in San Francisco at 5 a.m. or something on a Sunday was kind of wild.
Wow. Wait, you guys actually got it closed?
Yeah, I don't think they made a big deal out of it on the show, which is weird, but it's the first ever autonomous crossing of a highway bridge in the United States, because it's not really legal to do that. And they refused to completely close the bridge for us, but what they said was they'll do like a rolling roadblock. So they'll
Oh, I see.
have police cars behind us traveling really slowly so no one can get past, and we'll have that amount of space in front of them to do what we need to do. But it was actually a huge deal because getting permission for that was not easy at all because as far as we know, it's like pretty much illegal to drive a driverless car across a highway bridge.
Wow.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Impressive.
There's a lot of good. I think there's a lot of good in that episode. I mean, even just working with that Marathon Robotics platform in the city and mapping out and hanging out in the Hate Street area. Just, I don't know, the whole finale of it was really cool. Yeah, that was a good one.
And of course, you got pizza. So
Tons, yeah.
Yep.
Bad, ugly.
Yeah, nothing too bad about it, really. I mean, it was just sort of making the most of what we had to work with initially with this whole blimp thing.
Yeah.
It actually worked out well. It was frustrating at first, and it turned out pretty good, I thought.
I think that was one of the episodes where we realized that we could almost hack the network at that point, right? It's like they want to see a blimp carry a pizza. It's like, all right, we'll show them a blimp carrying a pizza. Yeah, we're going to go to the Goodyear blimp. And then, it's almost like we're going to give them what they want, but prove that they're wrong and then go a different way.
Nice.
So instead of just fighting them, it's like, okay, let's just show them that they're wrong and then just figure out a better way to do it.
Right. Fair enough.
And zombie apocalypse, I don't know, of course, you need to get food. You need to get pizza delivered to your house. With zombies around, you use the autonomous vehicle, it gets pizza to you, and you don't have to go out and fight zombies to get your pizza.
I would see this as pretty much one of the only businesses that's going to survive as we know it in the zombie apocalypse days. Like pizza delivery, there's no reason now with our technology that it can't continue as before, even in the presence of zombie hordes.
Sure.
Agreed. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I agree. Being a Neil Stephenson fan, I definitely agree.
All right. Wearable airbag.
Oh yeah.
This was one that the network really pushed hard for. It was in the original idea list, even before they'd offered a spot on the show to me. It was on their short list of ideas that they'd come up with, and we initially pretty much rejected it because we did a bunch of research and we found that there actually are a lot of wearable airbags type devices out there. There's one for motorcycles. There's one for, or at least one for avalanche protection. So we felt that was a space that, it wasn't going to make a huge splash the way we wanted to, we really wanted to build things that had never been done before. But because it was an approved idea, the production company pushed really hard for it. And so we eventually figured out a way that we could do it and do something a little bit new about it, which was the idea that you could fall off a roof while you were wearing it and maybe you wouldn't die.
Yeah. And the whole premise was to protect somebody when they fell off of something 30 feet or higher.
Right.
And not kill themselves. I think the good for me was doing some of our tests. There's actually a lot of we did some voice recognition circuitry that never made it on the show, but we did some really cool tests with the accelerometer and the motion detection, exploding a car airbag, which would then send popcorn flying everywhere. And that was just a demo. That was one of the favorite parts for me, just showing that it was a demo that was fun and it kind of proved the concept for us. And I got to use the T-Tech PCB prototyping machine, and we just had a nice little circuit, and I did the hardware and Zaz did the software, and it was just a neat little integration.
Cool. Any bad, ugly?
Not really. Just there was a whole story arc that never made it on screen, which was what they were really pushing for was they wanted an airbag that a skateboarder could wear that would protect them if they fell over on their skateboard. So that was the original thing they were really pushing for. And so we had to kind of work on that, even though we didn't think it would work. So we went to a skate park and we had like some famous skateboarding dude come and appear on camera for us and do a lot of maneuvers while we measured his movements with an accelerometer. And we basically proved, at least to our satisfaction, that there was no way we could tell the difference between a fall and a legitimate maneuver until they hit the ground, because almost everything they do is a fall, right, but they're able to recover. So, we just said, all right, we're not going to do the skateboard arc. And we symbolically blasted the skateboard off the island into the bay with a car airbag that was controlled by a speech recognition device that Joe had put together. And, it was like a really nice little self-contained story arc, and it had a cool finale with us blasting the skateboard, and the skateboard actually got snapped in half by the airbag. It was really cool, and the whole thing got cut. So I was sad to see it go. So when I did Time Warp, I did an airbag segment, and I blasted a skateboard in half with an airbag, just so I could get it on TV.
Nice. Take that, Discovery.
I think the bad, maybe bad or ugly, I'm not sure which one, was something that I'm not sure if it made it to the final cut or not, but this might be a little bit of a spoiler too, but in the finale, when we demonstrated the airbag on an actual person, on our test subject, we did a few tests at 30 feet, and it was awesome, and the airbag, it worked, and we were like, super happy. We're like, yeah, awesome. And then the producers, for some reason, or I can't remember, was
what happened was we were doing tests with our stunt guy Tim, who was jumping off 30 feet, but he had safety ropes attached. So if the airbag didn't inflate, they could pull him up short.
Right.
And the airbag did work, and it looked really great, but he still had those safety lines attached. So they wanted to do a shot without safety lines, but they still didn't really trust the airbag. So they said, let's just have him jump off 10 feet instead of 30 feet.
Yeah.
Without the safety lines. And we're like, that's not going to work because it's tuned for 30 feet.
Right.
Yeah, Zaz and I were both like, no. We have to measure a free fall instance for a certain amount of time before we deploy the airbag. The airbag deploying takes a certain amount of time. It won't work less than 30 feet. And they're like, well, we just need to get the shots, whatever. And of course it didn't work. And Tim basically jumped off a 10-foot platform wearing this thing and just slammed into the mat, which I actually thought was sort of funny, but he got paid for it anyway. He is a stunt guy, but still,
he didn't feel like doing any more jumps after that.
No.
He kind of got which is a shame.
But it shows the level of respect, I think, that we were given as engineers, right? It's like, we designed this system. You should honor what we're saying, and take that to heart instead of putting somebody's life in danger.
Well, no kidding.
So that was sort of, yeah. And there was a lot of other stuff in that episode that was sort of twisted. Like, I think when we were building the final electronics, and there was a lot of failures that were injected sort of falsely in there to try to make it more dramatic. Like there was one of my microchip pick devices that I was using. Wait, was I even using a pick? There's some device that somehow gotten like stuck on a piece of clothing or something, and then it was like lying on the side of the pyro pack, and they're like, oh no, of course the unit didn't work. The part's off the board. And trying to just make stuff
that. Yeah.
That we were having failures, which wasn't the case.
Yeah.
And
I have to bitch one more thing about this episode. I'm sorry, which is the fact that Mike's stuff got completely cut out. So, he had designed this airbag, and the airbag design was actually really complicated. He'd gone down to visit JPL and talk to NASA about their Mars lander airbags and a bunch of other experts and stuff like that. And so he had made an airbag with all this internal baffling that would control the inflation and make sure that everything worked right. And then in order to get such a complex airbag made, he had to have all the pieces cut out with a computer cutting machine.
Right.
And get that super expert dude to sew it together, because it was something really tough to sew all this internal structure. And if you watch the episode, it just looks like Mike, just hires this like seamstress dude to come and
just cut some fabric and put it together.
Right.
And they completely eliminated all the really interesting technical details that I think the audience, would have been
interested in.
Wow, like I never knew that it was more than just a sack.
I think that actually was probably the most technically difficult part of the entire build.
Yeah.
Right. Is like coming up with a system that would actually stop your fall and deflate properly, and you could roll up and everything. And doing the free fall detection, with an accelerometer is not necessarily difficult. We were using an older accelerometer that didn't have the actual free fall detection functionality built in, but a lot of the accelerometers now already have a flag for that, and it will, set a bit or set some pin high if it detects free fall. If we had used that, we wouldn't have had to write any software at all.
Yeah.
But I think the bag probably was the most technically complicated part.
And again, this is a prototype, but if you were being chased by zombies on a roof and you got cornered at the edge of the roof or something like that, or you were like exploring some place, some shopping mall for supplies or something like that, and you fell off a roof, you obviously could get some use from this airbag system.
Sounds
or you could manually trigger it and then just blast a zombie with a giant inflatable airbag in the face.
in the face. I like it. I'm trying to think. There's probably another one. If you could take all of the prototypes that you guys tried, like the one that exploded the bag of popcorn or whatever.
Yeah, that was one of our tests for the airbag.
Yeah. And then you can use all those.
Yeah, some of those failed tests had good zombie
anti-zombie properties.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the episode that really taught me that the car airbag is kind of like the cheese whiz of explosions. It comes in a can and you just press a button and it goes.
Yep.
But sometimes it doesn't.
Well, most of the time it works. And
awkward.
so that served me well in later life.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
I see.
And you could definitely make some good anti-zombie traps out of car airbags.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Excellent. Virtual Sea Adventure, which is actually one of the really cool things that you guys did, I thought.
Yeah, it's a little bit off the wall, but we got to do some really neat things.
Yeah.
And this was, I guess the concept here was, not everybody can fly around the world and scuba in the best places. So why not bring it to your backyard and you have a swimming pool set up or some office somewhere with this, tank in there that you could essentially scuba dive remotely and have an ROV, or remotely operated vehicle, at these scuba destination spots that would move around, and you could control it remotely and see on the screen exactly what the ROV is seeing.
Right.
But you're still under the water. You're still breathing through scuba gear, so it's still a no pun intended, fully immersive experience.
Yeah, and this one was really neat to build too. That there's a combination of stuff, but my favorite part was the control of the ROV. So using I'd used a Melexis 3-axis magnetic sensors that were inside of this waterproof housing, and then I had magnets attached to the gloves of my thumbs, so I could move my thumbs around on this waterproof controller, and it would then all of the electronics were inside of this waterproof enclosure that was then connected through an Ethernet cable up to a bunch of other electronics, and then across the park to control the ROV. And it was just, the control side to me was one of the best things, as was learning how to scuba and hanging out at Discovery Kingdom and seeing projector underwater. And yeah, there's a lot of fun in that one too.
Cool.
That's one of my favorite episodes. Another one.
Cool. And how was it good for you, Zaz?
Yeah, I actually wasn't there for a lot of that one. I was away for a week in Japan during that episode, so I didn't. This was probably one that I did almost the least work on, but I did get to do a lot of diving with the sharks. So that was fun. Yeah, it was kind of like a vacation for me.
Was it traumatic at all?
Yes.
No, I didn't think so. I loved it. I mean, out of the four of us, I was the only one who already had a scuba license, or whatever it's called, like certification. So I just basically chilled out and relaxed and had some fun.
That's cool.
I was terrified to swim with sharks. We all got to swim with sharks. I'm not sure if they showed it all on screen, but we all got to do it and collect little shark teeth from the bottom of this tank.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I was basically prepared to get eaten.
Well, so I'm trying to think. Wasn't there like some drama that they were showing, like someone freaked out?
Terry freaked out.
Was it Terry?
Yeah. So he and I were switching off duties, monitoring the ROV in the shark tank.
Mm-hmm.
And it all got a little too much for him. That there was definitely a couple of times where, so I learned, this is an interesting thing I learned on this episode, was that how to recognize when a shark is about to bite you, which is they swim around in these passes because a shark can't stop moving. So they kind of like do these flybys. And if they fly by and their mouth opens a little bit, it means that their attack behavior is about to trigger. They're almost like a behavior-based robot in that sense. Like, they're about to switch from the approach behavior to the bite behavior. And if you see that, it means it's time to just get out and leave them alone. And I think, one had done a flyby and it opened its mouth, and Terry got kind of wigged out.
Yeah.
And to go back in again.
Understand. We were definitely pissing off the sharks. Like, they were getting noticeably agitated because we just kept going in. And there's this, ROV swimming around in the environment. We weren't, we were being monitored by all of the keepers there at Discovery Kingdom, but I think we were kind of pushing the sharks to their limit.
Sure. They're like, tasty. leopard a Speedo.
I can imagine the post-zombie apocalypse prototype this, where instead of swimming with sharks, they send you guys out to test your inventions in hordes of zombies.
That would actually be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Sort of like the Running Man, but with zombies.
And I definitely recommend if you're boning up on your zombie history, the film Zombie 2, just ZOMBI, the Italian one, where a underwater zombie actually has a fight with a shark.
Whoa.
Solid goal.
Wow.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I don't have any bad or ugly for this one. I enjoyed making this episode.
Cool. Any bad or ugly for you?
No, I don't recall any off the top of my head. But as I said, it was really kind of a holiday for me as far as this.
Oh,
this,
sure, yeah, because
yeah.
Zombie apocalypse, I think, being underwater. Well, I don't know the outcome of this Zombie 2 movie, but I would assume that being underwater is going to at least save you from some zombies. But maybe, I don't know, having this underwater ROV could be useful. Like if you need to, maybe wire it with explosives and then swim it into a horde of underwater zombies. And
I will say for people out there that are listening who are interested in prototyping their own anti-zombie submersibles, Subotics is a really cool company that provides their thrusters at fairly low cost to people, especially student groups that are developing their own underwater robots, especially for the robotic competitions like RoboSub.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in underwater robots, check out Subotics. Their thrusters are all potted and sealed and really easy to deal with. So they're really supportive of hobbyist and student robotics in that sense.
Yeah, they were great. They were great to work with, and they gave us a bunch of specs about how to control the ROV. And it was, at least the one we used, had a nice serial interface, so we could send commands to it and set thruster speeds and all sorts of stuff. It was really, those were cool guys.
Cool. And I kind of like the ROV too. It was because I've always known them as being like absurdly expensive and absurdly like ginormous, but I don't know. These are tiny. And cute.
Yeah, they're pretty cute.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Flying lifeguard.
Oh, this one is epic.
This was totally epic.
The goal of this one was to create, I think we talked about this a little bit last week.
Yeah.
Was to build a system that would save a swimmer in an unguarded beach. So we had two different systems. One was the short range system of having this pneumatic cannon that would fire a life jacket to somebody at close range, so sort of in the break.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a different system that was a UAV airplane that was flying that would drop the life jacket to you if you were farther out in the water. And we had this a wristband GPS transmitter that we made that was waterproofed, and Zaz made a neat housing for it on a 3D printer that you'd push a button if you're in distress, and it would then send your GPS coordinates through an Aerocom radio module to the base station.
Mm-hmm.
So really neat technology there. That was a kind of fun episode.
Cool.
Any good? What was your good about that?
The main thing was, when they first said, we've got this life-saving device episode approved, and we really want to do a drone. I don't really know how it came up, and when we first started talking about a drone, but they loved the idea. And I was kind of wetting my nest, being like, man, 2 weeks to build like an autonomous drone. This is going to be freaking crazy.
And this was before all of the open source drone stuff,
like exactly.
All the Ardu, I don't know, the Arduino based ROV and all the RV systems.
Of it, because I went to the Maker Faire with Joe just before we started really working on the episode, and I saw some dude there with a drone and a reference to DIYdrones.com.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, whoa, this, people are really sourcing this stuff and starting to do it. So I went and checked out DIY drones and found some suppliers. The open source projects at that point were still pretty rudimentary, but there were a couple of suppliers that had reasonably turnkey solutions for model aircraft that we could sort of work off and start to hack and do bombing runs and stuff like that, because your off the shelf autopilot modules aren't really into dropping things on the ground and in any accurate sense. So just that realization that we could actually do this in a couple of weeks felt really great.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool. I have a lot of good experiences with this one too, but just a lot of neat little hacks to get everything working, as far as getting the UAV to precisely drop the pack and everything, which Zaz had to do some neat kind of GPS related lots of math. That's all I know. Is there a lot of code, and a lot of math.
Yeah.
We had to deal with the fact that the GPS update rate was 1 hertz, and the plane can go
man.
away in a second.
Yeah, and we actually one of my favorite parts.
So, did you design some sort of like super low frequency PLL type of trickery?
No, it was all just sort of characterizing what sort of error you could expect from the signal and when you could expect these updates to come in, and then just kind of working out an approach path that was somewhat predictable, and that you could do some math to work out where this thing was likely to drop.
And it ended up working really, really well after weeks. What seemed like weeks of testing.
It was weeks.
Yeah.
That's why it seemed like that. And many planes. I think we completely destroyed about 5 planes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that was probably the ugly of this episode, is destroying so many airplanes trying to get the thing to fly autonomously and to launch properly off of the rocket sled and all of that.
And I
But
think
I
they
think
only
that
showed one getting destroyed, or 2, maybe.
There was a lot.
They maybe showed 1 or 2, but Steve Leshevsky, bless his heart, had to stay up at night building a complete new plane, I think 5 times.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
I've gotten sick of that.
One
The
of the cool
accuracy
stuff-
that you guys were able to get with the cannon was very impressive.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was not bad. The time when we finally sort of got some of the errors in the system characterized and almost nailed that cameraman, that was a great day.
Did they show that on the episode?
They did. I was just gonna ask that. I was like, wait a minute, that's the one where you guys got to almost shoot the
Yeah, that was
poor dude.
hilarious. He deserved it too.
Did he?
No, I'm just kidding. That was Jason. Right?
Yeah, that was
a friend of
Jason.
ours.
He was a good guy, and
It really did hit him. I was supposed to I was responsible for letting him know if it was coming towards him, because he was filming me in that little inflatable thing.
Mhm.
yeah.
I was supposed to tell him if it was coming towards him, because he was filming me. He wasn't looking at in the sky.
Yeah.
It started coming towards him, and I was laughing so hard that I couldn't get the words out to tell him to move out of the way. And I knew it was coming towards him, but it was just so funny. And luckily it didn't actually hit him.
The great thing was that he was really fixated on getting the shot, so he didn't roll out of the way until the last minute, and he made sure that he had a good shot. And I was sad they got a little interview with him afterwards, where saying, did you feel like you were in danger? Did you get the shot? What was your priority? And he was like, yeah, I got the shot. And I don't think he used that, which was a shame, because he was in the line of fire on that one.
Yeah.
Here's something interesting. As epic as this was, and as many people that saw it and how cool it was, technically, I think this would be the second most infamous event of a air cannon.
Oh, yeah, 5 minutes.
We just got a visitor here. Keep going. Second most infamous.
The second most infamous air cannon fired by a ZombieTech guest in public.
Oh, you're right.
Because one of our guests was Joey Hoodie, who's like a teenage maker down in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And he designed this cannon that shoots marshmallows.
Oh, is he the one that was showing it off to Obama?
Yep.
He brought it to the White House, and President Obama used it to shoot a marshmallow across, one of the big halls in the White House.
Yeah.
And it's been on every news program across the country ever since. And he was a ZombieTech guest not too long ago.
Nice.
Kind of cool. So 2 ZombieTech epic air cannon guests now. That's a really good thing.
This was one of the things that really blew me away about this episode is when we had to go test out the air cannon at the beach. We just rock up with this giant air cannon and start firing projectiles into the surf, right, at a public beach, and no one says anything. And I thought to myself, only in America. Right, I'm pretty sure in Australia, if you took this giant air cannon to the beach and started just firing slugs around, the police would pay you a visit very quickly.
That's great. Maybe they just saw the camera crew and didn't worry about it.
You can pretty much get away with anything in this country as long as you bring a camera crew.
It's true.
That's very true.
Oh, yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, if you say you're on TV, you can pretty much do anything and get lots of stuff for free.
Yep. Yep. Good times, folks. Good times.
Now you know the real reason why I'm building that portable production rig.
Oh, yeah. So we can say,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Can we interview you? Oh my gosh, is this going to be shown on local news? So, was there bad? Did we go through bad?
Some of the there was some bad staying in the water for the finale for 3 hours
Oh.
while I was expecting to get eaten by sharks.
This
and
particular
being nauseous and
coast,
seasick.
they call it the Red Triangle because I think over 50% of all recorded shark attacks on humans have taken place in this area.
Yeah.
So Joe was pretty sure that he was not going to come back with all this.
Oh my gosh. 50%?
Well, it's funny because people like surfers that go out there, they're like, whatever, it's no big deal. I've never seen sharks. But yeah, 50% of all documented great white shark attacks have happened in the Red Triangle. And so it was a real choppy day, and I got seasick and I was freezing cold. The water in Northern California is kind of chilly. And it was that was a tough day to be out in the water. And I come back to land after we finished the shooting for the day. And our editor, who worked for the production company, was like, "Oh yeah, Joe, I was sure you were going to get sucked underwater."
Oh my god!
And I was like, "Thanks for the support." Yeah. So,
thanks for keeping me in there for 3 hours.
But we didn't mind putting our lives on the line for good television.
I guess not. Good for dedication. Bad for life, but okay.
And then I think the other bad was just how long that episode took. It just dragged on and on with all of the planes crashing. We had to drive to like 3 or 4 different RC plane fields in the Bay Area to do our testing because we just kept getting kicked out of the various areas for using our rocket sled, and the fact that we weren't, we didn't really know what we were doing.
The main thing is it's very difficult to legally fly an autonomous aircraft. And, the FAA just now is starting to consider relaxing rules on autonomous aircraft in the United States, but it's really tough to get permission. And so we had to go basically to these totally out of the way radio control model aircraft fields where we could sort of do this stuff under the radar. And these guys kind of got sick of these weird TV people with their autonomous drone planes who are potentially breaking all kinds of laws out of their RC field. So we had to keep moving around.
As ironic as it seems, we've actually covered FAA regulations in autonomous aerial vehicles on this show in quite a lot of detail in the past. That they made it, the most recent update made it so that there's a lot more relaxed rules about a hobbyist doing it, but as soon as you attach like a camera to it and want to charge for taking aerial photography, it's now currently illegal to do. Well, you would have to get permission, and it's pretty much impossible to get that permission, so forget about it.
Interesting. I guess no uglies. Yeah, no? Maybe.
Not really. And we talked about zombie attacks because that would be a perfect, the cannon, the short range cannon, awesome for shooting projectiles at zombies.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being useful as like a grenade launcher, because a grenade launcher that can hit different areas with accuracy autonomously like that would be great.
Yeah.
Would I pull the pin or would you pull the pin?
It makes me want to buy a bunch of land and some grenades.
Oh my gosh. You guys can deal with that aspect. I'm good with my safety here. Thanks. All right. We are like coming to the near end. Gecko superhero suit. So
I think we need to say that the Gecko superhero suit and the Robo Dog Sitter were our final 2 episodes that we actually filmed, and they were filmed in parallel.
Yeah, we were running out of time, and the production company said, we just don't have enough shoot time budgeted to do these things one after the other. We're going to have to do them in parallel and just make it look like you guys are working on, but make it look like each episode has all the team working on it, when in reality it was split pretty much 50-50.
Yeah, and these two too also didn't air along with the other 11, I believe, or 10. There was 3 episodes that. Yeah, there was 3. That's right. The Flying Lifeguard and then the Superhero Suit and Robo Dog Sitter aired in March of 2009, but the other ones ended in December 2008. So the first 10 aired, and then the last 3 aired later. So I think a lot of people haven't even seen these.
Oh, really?
And some websites that don't even list them. Yeah, because they aired later. So yeah, those were interesting. But the Gecko Superhero Suit was the first one that had absolutely no electronics at all. So it was easy to put me on the other one. And then, we would just do a lot of the scenes of like, pretending to do research and stuff when really I wasn't involved in that one. And also that was around the time when my son was born.
Right.
So
Right.
There was a lot of trickery to make it appear like I was in those episodes.
Sure.
Yeah, so they actually, I think they showed in Robo Dog Sitter that Joe wasn't around, but that's the reason why I did almost all the electronics in Dog Sitter with Joe's help, just basically doing circuit review and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then neither of us really did much at all for the gecko episode. That was Mike's baby, you know. That was his PhD research was geckos, and you know, we just he felt that we could pull it off, and we could have someone, you know, climb up a sheer wall, which we did end up doing with not the gecko style, but with the kind of
the claws,
spider style claws.
Yeah, and that episode actually was kind of cool, even though there was, you know, no electronics, but still kind of some neat technical stuff. Where we tried to do not only the gecko claw thing, but it was also the that material, some other molded paddle thing. Remember those?
Oh yeah. That was the gecko.
Oh, that was the gecko. Okay, and then there was the claw.
Yeah, the claw one was all the little tiny fish hooks.
The fish hooks, yeah.
And that one actually worked.
That one worked, and we were able to go do this is the one where we went to Stanford and got to see some of their research on the biomimetics and some other stuff, and it was kind of neat to do some of those trials. But yeah, it really was Mike's baby, and I think it was a huge win for him to do that episode and to show that it actually worked and that, you know, some of his work paid off.
Right.
I was watching some program on Nova about making things smarter, and they visited the same gecko research guy that you guys got to talk to. It was pretty cool to see him again on something else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a legend.
He's the guy, yeah. He's the gecko guy.
Now, did you guys try using them? Like using the...
Yes.
Yeah, we actually have some photos and some little videos of Joe and I both trying the hook ones and climbing up the wall. So they definitely supported our weight.
Wow.
Obviously, for the finale, we chose Lynn because she was so light. But they could definitely hold me and Joe up. And we had some fun with that.
Yeah, Zaz was a little braver than I was. I think I probably went like 2 or 3 feet in the air, but it felt like I was, 20 feet. I was, not very good
really
height.
Cool.
You're clinging to the side of a wall.
Very cool. Very cool.
But it did work. Yeah, it did work.
And it's another one of those things like the 6x6 where, the people at Stanford had wanted to test this out at human scale for a while, and they just didn't have the funding to do it. But it fit in really well with their research program, and they were super psyched to try it out and that it worked. So it's a rare example, I think, of kind of real research getting done next to TV's somewhat deep pockets.
Yeah.
Any bad for this one? I mean, I know. Well, it's kind of difficult because you guys were kind of split.
Yeah, we weren't really involved in that.
Okay.
The zombie though, having these claws that we used for the version that worked was basically like this just matrix of little fish hooks that would cling to the side of this stucco wall. But you could use that and like put them on your hands and just slap zombies and tear their faces apart.
I slap you in the face with my fish hooks.
Yeah, they were pretty sharp.
That's great. Wow. Well, that works too. Or you can just like climb a wall. I mean, that would work too.
You could have a completely impregnable zombie bunker with no external entrances at ground level, and you have to climb up a sheer wall to get into your own bunker, and that would basically, I think, solve any problems with zombies managing to find a way into your inner sanctum.
It'd be a good workout too.
Well, until they learn how to climb walls.
But they don't.
Well, then you got turrets.
Right? They don't have the fish hooks.
Oh, right. Okay.
They would be able to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
True.
And they got turrets too. Or we have turrets.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. So, and I mean, among many other different types of defense.
They won't let us build our automated gun turrets, though. They're illegal.
Blah, blah, blah. But see, when it comes to the zombie apocalypse, by that time, everything is going to go to shit anyway.
Yeah, laws don't matter at that point.
Right. Exactly.
Is it even illegal?
Automatic guns?
Yeah.
Are they?
Automated weapons that to like shoot invaders into your home and stuff like that. Yeah, it's illegal.
We actually designed an automated weapon, but it wasn't. The episode was canceled.
Oh no!
We had the whole thing designed too. It was an automated paintball machine thing.
I think you could probably get away with paintball because it's not really going to kill anybody.
They could.
Well,
Point
enough
blank.
paintballs.
With enough paintballs.
filled with acid.
Hey.
Acid paintballs, I like it.
Battery acid ball. It's the new extreme sport.
Ow.
Because regular paintballs just don't hurt.
The welts aren't invasive enough. All right, Robo Dog Sitter. So this one's the one that I guess you were working on your first baby prototype for.
Yeah, so this episode was sort of for the finale of the season. I think this one was sort of a downer. Like, it was cool and it was fun, but we had some much better builds earlier in the season that I think the ordering probably could have been changed a little bit. But this one, this was, we were working on it in parallel with Gecko, and my son was born, and Zaz had to spend a lot of time wearing a cardboard mask of me in a lot of the scenes. But it was a neat attempt, and to have this robotic dog sitter with a video system and that it could play different types of games and throw balls and stuff. It was a neat idea, and not as big and huge and glamorous as some of our other ones.
Right.
But still good.
Okay. Good, bad, ugly.
Good was good again because we got to play a few things for laughs. We had the whole the dog show and the
dog podcast.
The dog podcast. The ones where the dog gets squirted out the window by the squirter and stuff like that. There were some good laughs in this episode. And it was nice to do another robot that was actually reasonably capable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It looked really nice too.
Yeah, nice vacuum formed case. The good for me is that because my son was born during that time, they actually filmed. They had a little segment at the hospital filming, when my son was born. Mm-hmm. So that was really cool to just have that footage. And we pretty much watch that like a few times a week. He's 3.5 now, and he likes that segment of Dog Sitter when he's born. He gets to see himself.
Oh.
So that's I think a real trip for him to see that. So that was a good part for me, is just having him born.
That explains why he's crashed 2 ZombieTech episodes now.
Oh yeah. Oh, could you hear him when he came in right here?
Yeah.
Super cute, by the way.
You're gonna have him on in a few years,
Oh, is he going to be one of those young maker hackers?
Yeah, not gonna be.
He already is. Doesn't he know how to solder?
When we did Joe's interview, he was talking about something that Joe was printing for him on the 3D printer right as we were starting up the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll see him. You'll meet him soon.
Super adorable. Bad
or ugly?
Bad for me was just they just more sort of production details. They had decided on this dog trainer, and she really wanted to use her dog, and the producer had the supervising producer on the ground had really just wanted to get like a trained dog that would like really be able to be trained very quickly to respond to the things that the dog sitter did, whereas this dog trainer's dog was kind of very timid, very scared of just about everything, and so you can kind of see it like in the way that it's even though it's sort of cut to make it look like the dog's a little bit more comfortable with the robot than it actually is. You can see that the dog really just doesn't like the robot at all and is sort of scared of anything that moves that it's not familiar with. So just not being able to set things up from the beginning with with a dog that we knew that was going to be able to respond to it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, for example, playing the tug of war and stuff like that. The tug of war ends up not being that effective anyway. But if the dog's terrified of everything to begin with,
it's not going to play with it.
It's not really going to work.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, that works. So 13 episodes. Went through the good, bad, and the ugly.
We missed zombie on the dog.
Oh, zombie. Yes. What's the zombie on the?
You can taunt the zombies remotely and throw and launch balls at them through the ball launcher.
These things could be really useful for like going out. Something you see in almost every zombie movie and TV show is going out and trying to collect resources. These things could be really good at that.
Well, and for scouting and recon and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this
actually have a little camera next to them.
Did this have a water squirter in it?
It had a water squirter.
Yeah, so you could put replace the water with zombie repelling fluid of some sort.
battery
and
acid
spray
again.
zombies. Yeah.
Maybe you could have like outfitted your automatic paintball gun to it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
for sure.
So on one side that, and then on the other side a flamethrower. Do we have a flamethrower?
I see potential for a modular platform that
Yeah,
you could
from
bolt
the
all
flamethrower
sorts of
from
things
the-
to.
From the pyro pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. I approve. How many how long will it take to get about 10,000 of these?
Oh, 2 weeks or so.
2 weeks. Cameras in your faces. So I think I already know the answer to this, but would you ever do all of this again?
I would. I'm not as jaded as Joe. I had a lot of fun, really. I just was, frustrated by many things along the way. And I think knowing what I know now, I know how to sort of deal with that and head it off a lot more from the beginning. Because I'd come in and I'd written lots of ideas and really, was really excited and just hadn't given a thought at all to what happened in the production process. I just kind of naively believed that we'd build these cool things and then the show would be awesome. So knowing all that stuff now, I think I could apply pressure in the right directions and not let things get to the point where everyone's at loggerheads about how the show should look. Like if it's defined right to begin with, I think it will turn into a good show. So I did jump on and do Time Warp right afterwards because I still believe in the power of television as a medium and that, it's not just about making cool things. You can make something that's truly educational and truly fun to watch and does a good thing.
Yeah, and I would do it again as well. I am jaded about the experience just because I'm used to running my own company and I'm used to doing the things that I enjoy. Not having somebody tell me to wake up at 6 a.m. and be here ready to film and this and that. I would do it again if the terms are right and if the mission was right. Like if it was something where we had more creative control of the show, if we had more control of what was going on a day-to-day basis, what we were working on. But even things down, just the way that we were treated with the production company was very harsh. And, just the fact of like trying to get fed each day was an issue. We filmed on Treasure Island in the San Francisco Bay. There was nothing to eat. And just dealing with day-to-day things like you would expect. Well, of course you'll get fed every day, right? That's what you would think, but no. So it's just a lot of the treatment as talent and as hosts is what really
my side and there's blood in my tummy.
So sorry. We have another guest on the show. But the way we were treated on the show was really that was the roughest part for me. So yeah, I would do it again if we had more control and more power of just how the entire show went. Being an important part of the show and not just a piece of meat on screen.
Sure. I'll take
so,
that.
Yeah, Zaz and I are always ready. So anybody listening,
if you're curious about making something educational and something that's going to inspire engineers and scientists, then we would do it in a heartbeat, I think.
Yeah, and that's what we're building up to with our network. We're still in our infancy, getting all our equipment and whatnot. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that we're really into. Our heroes are guys like Fred Rogers and Jim Henson and those guys,
Yeah.
Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers. They were able to take like engineering and manufacturing and those sorts of things and present them to kids in a way that they could understand and in a way that instilled a sense of doing things in a responsible fashion, not just going out for the profit of it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then also, of course, if the world does collapse and zombies are everywhere, there's going to be a need for high density informational material, such as television podcasts on how to build your own defense weapons and zombie barriers and so on. So obviously, would be happy to participate in that if the worst does occur.
Right.
We always like to say that the most important thing that you can bring with you to the zombie apocalypse is knowledge.
Yep.
Yeah. And weapons.
Guns, lots of guns. All right, so we're just about out of time. We have a couple of questions that we like to ask every ZombieTech guest that comes through.
Right.
We've asked Joe this already, so if he does need to take off, he could do that. But as the prototype this representatives here, Addie's got a couple of questions.
Okay. Let's see. What?
Mommy.
I think we touched on this last time, but what? Let's do 2.
I'm listening to Daddy.
Sorry.
So cute. What 2 of the prototypes would you guys take to your zombie apocalypse bunker?
Oh, now we only have 2 to choose from each.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Each or together? Because that means we could do 4 between us. Assuming we were sharing a bunker.
That might be cheating.
Well, I'll throw out the traffic buster and the life-saving stuff, and Joe can correct me if he disagrees with those choices.
Okay.
No, those are good. Yeah, like we talked about it in the beginning of the other episode. Yeah, I think those are the 2.
No, I changed my mind already.
Oh.
Instead of the 6x6, because I think we could get it working in the bunker, and it would be the ultimate like anti-zombie vehicle.
Yeah, but we don't have it yet. And what if we're not high enough up? Like at least with the truck, we're higher, and we could go in any direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the truck is definitely a better solution.
I mean, you could take both vehicles. That's fine.
Oh, is our bunker big enough?
Yeah. Heck yeah. It's of like what's the word? Infinite size. There is no limit. I mean, currently, and you guys are invited to our zombie bunker, of course, but currently we have 2 MRI rooms, a clean room. Gosh, I don't even know. Just crazy. Like we have fans, these massive fans that'll be the part of the defense.
Cool.
Tesla coils. Yeah.
Our guests are responsible for all sorts of silly additions.
Yep.
Oh, I do want to mention that Keely just walked by and looked at us and said WTF. She missed the entire episode, and then she just hears the last little part. Understandably, she's confused.
Zombies. It's all about zombies. Okay, so and then what prototype would you guys like to have work on that you didn't get to?
Like of these or of a different one?
A different one, I guess.
So for the people listening to this podcast who might, if you're engineers or you work in a creative field, you might be depressed when your ideas don't get accepted. So us.
Sorry, wait, we have a guest. Sorry, what did you want to say?
I want you to mommy, and I want to a friend that Miles and me and mommy and me that and you that he's gonna go bigger than and then I'll have a crowd.
Oh, okay. Ben just wanted me to tell you that he has a new baby brother named Miles who was born on Friday.
Aww.
February 24th, and that Keely's here and Zaz is here too.
I see. Thank you for letting us know.
All right. Back to you, Zaz.
Yes, I would say to people who out there working in creative fields who are depressed that their ideas get knocked back, our strike rate in terms of a number of ideas pitched to number of ideas accepted by the network was about 500
Oh my gosh.
ideas to 13 accepted. So there were a lot of ideas that we would have really loved to do that we never got a chance to do. But I would say the one that I had the softest spot for was I wanted to try and create the newest extreme sport. And I had an idea for combining skydiving with bowling. And have intelligent like bowling pins that could like maintain spacing in free fall, and you would throw the ball at them while you were skydiving, and then try and make them deploy their parachutes, which would have been pretty much the most awesome episode of all time.
I think you just wanted to let them pay for the skydiving trip.
Oh, is it that transparent?
Man, that would be so difficult to try to get the pins to line up. That would be great.
Yeah, I thought it would be really fun. Whether it worked or not, it would have been an awesome episode.
How about you, Joe?
Joe's dealing with progeny.
I'm back.
Here he is.
All right, what was the question?
What prototype out of our idea list would you like to work on that we never got to?
Out of the 500 ideas?
Yeah.
And the over 500 ideas. I don't know. I missed what you said, but
I said the sky bowling.
Oh, the sky bowling. Oh man, I'm so glad we didn't do that one. I'm not gonna jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
Not even if there's sharks underneath it.
Yeah, I think the one that at least the first one that pops into my mind is the I don't remember the name of it for the paintball.
Oh, the Machine Gun Monet.
Yeah, we called it Machine Gun Monet, and it was basically a computer controlled paintball gun that had CMYK paintball colors.
Nice.
And you could, paint gigantic pictures on the side of walls. And it just had a neat control system. We actually had already designed it. I had built the boards. Everything was ready to go. And the show was canceled for some reason. But then a few weeks later, Mythbusters had a very similar machine gun paintball setup, except it wasn't a computer controlled thing to paint pictures. It was just a computer controlled thing to splat lots and lots and lots of paintballs at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was even a computer.
Yeah, I think they just preloaded everything. But I think that would have been a really cool episode because we were so close to being able to actually do real world testing.
Right.
And the fact that the design was done, it was like just almost there, and it just inexplicably canceled. Like we had no idea why.
Yeah, I mean, Discovery, the exec got wind. Like when you're a network executive, apparently your job really consists of imagining what your boss's opinion is and then trying to do the same thing. And so the next up the chain at Discovery got wind of it and didn't like the idea because they didn't really understand what it was good for. Because we thought of it really as being like a high-tech art thing that was just kind of neat. It was just a cool thing to do. And they couldn't see a real-world market for it, so therefore they canceled the episode.
Yeah, and this was one that would have been another one that would have been really cool at a Maker Faire or Burning Man or some art exhibit or something, and load in pictures and have them print out on giant canvas. It was just a neat one, but never made the light of day. I still have the boards though, so assuming if we got the servo motors again and some of the guns and everything, we could definitely do it. I mean, we had I think 1 million paintballs in the warehouse.
Gosh.
We had a lot of paintballs, and I don't know where those went.
Maybe that's why. Maybe because the network executive had a paintball party and ended up using them all.
No, we had them all. I think we ended up just giving them all away.
Yeah.
Because they were in weird colors, they were CMYK paintballs.
Yeah. Oh, man. That would have been fun, though. Well, I think that's it. That's all I have for questions.
She needs, I guess we'll cover that when we do Zaz's interview next week.
Yep.
So, I guess that's it for this week's show. Thanks, guys, for sharing all this great supplemental information about a pretty cool TV show.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And remember to go get all the episodes if you don't have them already. Discovery Channel does actually sell a DVD, so if you want to actually pay, you can buy it off their site. Go to my website to get all the behind-the-scenes documentation. And also go on YouTube and do a search for Prototype This, and we posted a bunch of behind-the-scenes videos as well. So There's a lot of stuff out there. And, if you have questions about builds, technical questions, feel free to contact me, and if it's something that requires Zaz's input, I'll get to him.
Sounds good. And you can find all of our stuff as well as this show on tymkrs.com, as well. Oh, and then the show on ZombieTech.tv.
Yeah, ZombieTech is released every Thursday, and you can subscribe RSS feed, get it right to your iPhone, iPod, whatever you're doing there. And I think that's it for us for this week. Thanks for listening, and we'll see all of you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.